Thanks for staying with us. Now, Jackie Chan plans to leave his estimated $370 million worth of estate to charity, not for his son Jaycee. Now, Jackie Chan explained that if his son was capable, he can make his own money. If not, if he is not, then he will just be wasting mine. That was, when he was asked why. So now for Christians, there's a popular scripture that you always hear being quoted from Proverbs chapter 13 and verse 22 that says, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. Now, this quote has brought so much pressure on parents. So tonight we're asking, if inheritance is a must, and what should be an ideal succession plan, for your children? Please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join this conversation. Tweet at us at WayShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WayShow, or send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. Lami is a lawyer here.
Ooh,
so she will always...
I wanted to jump in, but I had to restrain myself because it was your introduction. When you said the Bible said a man has to leave inheritance for his children, there are a lot of inheritances you can leave, legacies you can leave for your children. Yeah. You can leave legacy of character, of love, of education. So the Bible did not state financial inheritance. So we have to be very, very...
but that is why I quoted that scripture, because that's the scripture that people have used over the years to haunt parents.
No way.
So it seems like, and that's why you have a lot of people stealing money,
education.
Because they will tell you that it's for
education.
My children's children. Is this? I'm just trying. We've just started the conversation.
We're just starting. So legacies are different. They are different.
But let me hear Uti first, because she's in Zoom. Let me hear her, then I will come to Isi, then I'll come to you. Uti, what's your thought on inheritance?
So I think I totally agree with Lami in that inheritance can be so much more than financial. Financial is always nice, but really and truly, there's so much that you can leave your children. We, as parents, don't understand the gravity of the job that we have in raising well-adjusted citizens who essentially are the next generation. So when the song says the children are our future, literally you're writing the future. And that's power. That's beyond financial inheritance. And I agree that there's so much more that you can give your child beyond money, because it sounds like $370 million is a lot of money, and it is, don't get me wrong, but it's possible to blow it all and spend it all. So exactly. It sounds like it's wicked father, or how can he not leave the money to his child? But when he has made that money off his own sweat, this is essentially first generation money, then go out and make your own. It's fair enough. If he has done the right things, raised his child with the right values, the right tenacity, then, the guy is poised to be able to make 740 million just off his surname, just off his family, just off, the doors that his father's name and experience will open for him. So even that in itself is an inheritance. His name is an inheritance. It's a brand. So what has he done with it, or what can he do with it? It's more important than just handing him 370 million.
Okay, so I want to come to Isi, because Isi has a background story. Because most times when you hear things like this, I remember Lami was going to say something about people being wicked or something for a parent. When you were saying that, go ahead.
That most times these parents are hurting, and there's a particular reason why they're doing it. But before you go to Isi, my own thought, my simple thought on this is, you bequeath to your children as much as you have prepared them for. Do you understand?
That's very profound. Please repeat it again.
You bequeath to your children as much as you have prepared them for in life.
What if you prepared them and they didn't imbibe it?
And then that is what you bequeath to them. It means that they have not
taken... You've not done your job.
You've not done your job.
It's not their job. It's not their fault.
Okay, so let's get the background story.
Now, let's get the background story on Jackie Chan. Now, Jackie Chan is not a bad parent for doing what he did or saying what he said. What he practically said, imagine Jackie Chan, who has done a lot of movies and broken about 40 bones in the process of making these movies, and he's a Buddhist. Now, Buddhists, they all have their mindset. They have their rules and regulations, which they, imbibe and they practice. And he must have given his children the best. He even tried to be the role model. In the course of, trying to get the background on Jackie Chan, what was written was that he is a Buddhist that tried to do the right thing and be a role model for his children. Now, in the process, the son, Jaycee, became an actor and a musician. But recently, I think it was in 2014, he was caught with drugs, and he was sentenced to prison to serve a term, or some terms or whatever, basically. And in the process too, what also got to me in this was that his daughter is another case entirely. She is gay. Remember, Jackie Chan is a Buddhist. So do you think he didn't do what was right by the children? He was married to their mother, and he wasn't gay. And he worked hard for his money. In all the movies he had ever done, even insurance refused to take any kind of insurance on him because anything can happen and they will have to pay. So 40 bones in how many movies? And after going through all of these, then the son will now come. He didn't do anything. There was a video recently, I think a couple of years back, that went viral about Jackie Chan walking into the house after shooting the movie, and his son just sat down there looking dazed and just say, "Hi, Dad." Back in the days in China, Jackie Chan said if that was his time, that he dare not do that to his father, not to talk of his son doing it to him.
Okay, so I found this quote, right? Before you come, Lami, I found this quote that says, "Luxury is best experienced, not when it's inherited, but when it's earned."
I agree.
Because you see, it's one thing, I understand the African mindset of, oh, you must live this, and this is what puts a lot of parents under pressure.
And corruption.
For me, I think inheritance for me would be what you had said in the beginning, Lami. That's why you see me, I don't carry Gucci bag. I don't have Fendi shoe.
It's education.
Yeah, you were on the same page.
That education.
I don't carry Gucci. Anybody that knows me, I'm calculating. MIT. We have to go there. Do you understand? I'm calculating school fees. So I don't have all those luxury things because I am focused on giving my children the best
education
in terms of their education.
Exactly.
Back in the day, it was good name. Where they'll tell you that remember the son of who you are. The name was the inheritance, so that wherever you walked into, in any place, that name was going to open doors for you. So I do not understand why we put a lot of pressure on parents to want to leave, material inheritance for their children, lands, houses, cars, that these children most times never get to even appreciate, because most of them squander it because they don't even understand how it was earned.
I totally disagree with you?
Let's look at it from another
Go ahead. No, let her tell me why.
I totally disagree with you.
Okay.
I am pro-inheritance. But the issue is, number one, the quality of life of parents. You must ensure you have good quality of life before you start thinking of what to leave for the children. I am pro when especially in your retirement, in your old age, enjoy your life. Don't start running that I have to leave this for my children or not. They will, whether you live for them or not, they will survive. But if you now have remnants, please live for your children. It is. I don't think that because a child has inheritance, it automatically impairs on their motivation.
But don't you think it makes some children lazy?
No, I don't agree. Wait, and I'll tell you why I don't agree. When you are parenting a child, you have to be deliberate, right? Between the ages of 0 to 18, I believe a parent should have done all the work on that child. I hear some parents wanting to take their children abroad, and they tell me they have to relocate with the child. Me, my daughter at 18 will go to a university in Australia, and I will not go with her. Because for whatever you have done between the ages of 0 and 18, should take that child all through lifetime. Now, why should I be scared to leave inheritance for my child if I know I've done my job? Once you ensure that child imbibes the culture of excellence, culture of discipline and responsibility, give that child billions, it will survive to another
They
generation.
will not squander
You've
it.
forgotten that they have houses where all the children are good, but they have one black sheep in the family.
Then you don't disinherit him or
No,
put
you
his
can't
own.
disinherit him. You
Why
still have
not?
to- you can't.
Why not?
It's
Let me
not
tell you
possible.
something.
You
Your
can't.
will is your last communication with your child.
If you
that
leave your will,
wait,
that is.
hold on. We are talking about succession plan. Abi? So how do you succeed? How do parents succeed? Transfer.
Okay.
It's by will or if you are interstate. So what we're talking about, if you are deliberate about, you do not want to leave to a child, there are ways you can go about it. I do succession planning. It's my area of practice. I advise clients on how to do it. So I know what I'm saying. You don't have to physically give a child inheritance. There are a lot of ways you can do. I even have clients that do educational trust for their grandchildren because they know their son or their child is not capable of doing it. And they don't want to impair into the future of that child. You can do such legacies. You can have a trust. You don't have to basically hand it over. Or you can inherit that child. At that time, you're already gone.
Easier said than done.
Let me bring in Uti.
What is easier said than done?
Disinheriting the child.
Of course, I see
Easier
it
said than
every
done.
day. I see
Uti.
it every day.
So, Uti, let me come to Uti. You know, so I saw another quote that says, for children, inheritance is very, very bad, like an enemy. Because all the time about inheritance, it seems like it's geared towards making the child feel laid back.
And entitled.
You understand? And feeling entitled. Do you agree with this? Or you are on the same school of thought that if you've done your job, right? If you've done your job, it's what's it called? It's the inheritance you're leaving for that child would multiply and it will not be squandered.
Yeah, so I mean, I think I'm extremely aligned with everything that Lami has said so far. The stories that we are more likely to hear, bad news travels fast. We hear more about, children of rich families who have lost all their money, who haven't done anything with their lives. And before we even get to the super rich, let's even just take you and I. We've talked about this on the show before with a parenting expert about the drive that we as parents have these days to give our children everything that we didn't have. And in doing that, we lose the values that we were raised with that made us the good citizens and good people that we are today. So the things that you knew that your parents wouldn't accept, that they didn't take from you, these days you will take it from your child. So yes, we argued about technology. So our children will never wash clothes with their hands, so it's okay to use a washing machine. It's okay for them not to know how to hand wash clothing. So we make these little tweaks. Now imagine somebody making that with billionaire status. If you don't teach the child between 0 to 10, 13, I'm even thinking 18 is far. If you haven't instilled in the child certain values and you haven't instilled in the child information around the value of money, if you go back to stories about the British royal family and how Prince William and Prince Harry were raised, Princess Diana was very, very deliberate in exposing them to other people or other children who were poorer, who were less privileged, so that they had a balance to understand that it wasn't normal in everybody's life for someone to iron newspapers before they read it. It wasn't normal for someone to make, hamburgers out of the best cut of filet beef. She did that. And you can see that in the way that, let me use Prince William, but maybe Prince Harry will argue with me, how he has been raised and the way he has turned out. And that's what I think Lami is trying to say, is that the value that we instilled in our children is what takes them forward. If you haven't taught the child the value of a naira or maybe the value of $1, he's going to spend $1,000 mindlessly. So you see rich parents. I mean, if you in our generation grew up watching My Super Sweet 16, you see parents buying, a BMW for his child's 16th birthday. And then a week later, the child has crashed the car.
Exactly.
And guess what? That child is going to get a replacement. So what values are you teaching the child? That my parents have money, money can fix anything, money can buy anything. But in that same show, you would see parents who were stricter, where the birthday was not a go crazy, go mad, And then, at the end, of course, to make it interesting, they do something, breathtaking. But the reality of it is that it still stops at the parent. So even when we talk about an inheritance, are you leaving an inheritance for your child that is going to handicap your child? Or are you leaving an inheritance for your child that is going to live 2-3 generations down the line because you have raised your child the right way? So your child values the money that has been left behind. I mean, there's so many companies today where the families are still involved, the Walmarts of this world, the Estee Lauders of this world. And then there's so many other family companies like that where the families are not involved. So, I mean, when you think about it, it still comes down to how you're raising these children, and particularly in valuing money. Because when you have a lot of money, money then has no meaning and everything is relative. So if to me, I've grown up watching you spend $1 million, a weekend, then what's that going to mean to me? $1 million is going to be the equivalent of 100,000 naira to somebody else. So it's all relative. And I think that's what parents need to look at. It's not for me whether it's 37 million, 370 million. It's about how you're raising the child. Like Lami said, very, very insightful. Have you prepared the child to inherit
I love what Uti is saying. So it means that also the child is watching you as a parent. So how you are interpreting, the lifestyle of spending, you understand, is also what the child might eventually inherit alongside with the money you're giving. But somebody has sent in, but you didn't give your name. It says, has the parent that sells his property to give his children good education abroad not bequeathed enough inheritance to the children? I think he has, because...
Yeah, that's why I said there are different legacies you can bequeath to your children. Some
so
people
I think
feel
we should define... You know what, we'll take a break now. I think when we come back, we should define what inheritance is. Because you see, at first glance, once you just see inheritance or once you hear inheritance, the next thing you're thinking about is
money,
house,
financial.
land, financial, like material inheritance. So people are not able to expand their mind beyond that. So even character is an inheritance.
Yes,
so they are watching
I said
you.
it, legacy of character.
Character. So we'll take a break. When we return from the break, we're going to also open our phone lines to our viewers and continue the conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.